Well, hello there, wonderful, wonderful people. Beautiful spiritual shining lights. And welcome to this week's episode of Spiritual Stuff and Fluff. And I have a guest here, David Jones, or my better half, if you want to put it that way. Some people say that he is the better half. Some people say he's a worky ticket. Now, Davey's been a medium for a long, 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 long time. And I mean a long, long time. Me and Davey also like to have a good laugh. Now, Davey, you've been a medium for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, quite a long
Was
time.
your hair dark when you first began?
Well, at the time I never had much hair either. I was only 4 years old.
Did you not?
And it's grown and it's lost. Just it must be the company I keep. But never mind. Um,
Have you always been well, you're a bit like a badger then as well.
Badger by name, badger by nature. Yeah. So
So you have been a medium for a long, long time, haven't you?
yeah.
So what happened when you first became aware of spirit?
Well,
Did you know it was spirit? Did you not know it was spirit? Were you 25? Were you 4? What were you?
I was 4 years old. And it was at the time my life where wasn't so good. But at the time I didn't know it. I remember being in my grandma's house and staying over. And at the time in the room, um, a nun appeared. Well, I didn't know what it was at the
And
time.
none.
A nun of all things, yeah, definitely.
I thought it was something else. Oh no, that was a
Well,
different time.
yeah.
Yes, I didn't know
So
about the nun.
so basically what it was,
Well, I did know about the nun, but I thought it was E.T.
sure. But never mind. The nun actually through the wall. Well, it seemed to me through the door, but it was obviously through the plate glass.
Did you see our feet?
No, actually, I wasn't looking for them. I was asleep.
Was honest, because to be honest, I'm not being funny here, but you know, you know yourself, do you?
Hmm?
When we see things of a spiritual nature,
Mm.
it's afterwards we think the funny things.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's after, and when you think about a nun, even in the physical life, you never see the feet,
Nope,
do you?
nope, definitely not.
You never, I couldn't tell you what kind of shoes they wear.
Well,
It'd probably be flat shoes, but I wouldn't know what the shoes were. I wouldn't know what the colours of the shoes were or what.
mm,
I don't even think I've ever heard
I've
it.
never,
I've seen nuns, obviously, but
yeah.
even when I've been seen nuns in the street, I
Mm,
don't think I've ever even heard the clip clop of the feet.
mm. I never ever thought it'd be nice, way,
No, I
but
just can't take my mind back
yeah.
and
But,
hear it.
but you know what I
I
was going
always
to
thought on skateboards. Anyway,
spiritual nature flying through the air, yeah. But never mind.
exactly.
At the time, I'll be honest with you, I was trying to sleep, but this took me concentration to it. And it was just it was can't even remember after all them years how I come,
Well, it
how I
was a
fuck,
long, long, yeah, a long
yeah,
time ago.
obviously it was. Thanks for reminding us, but never mind. So anyway, at the time, I remember a hand coming,
A pecker hand.
a pair of
Oh,
hands
pear hand.
coming towards us,
Uh-huh.
and I wondered what it was. And all I could see was a cuff, and I knew it was a nun by the it was the dusky blue cuff.
All right.
And there wasn't a nun with black. It wasn't a nun with I don't know,
You know,
kind of.
like that grey blue
It
colour.
possibly could have been
I
that.
think they're my novices, aren't they? Learning
Well, I'll be
nuns.
honest with you. I
I
think it
don't
was
know.
more. I think it was more of a higher class nun, to be quite
No,
honest with you.
yeah.
But I'm not one to give rank. But
Hmm.
and what it was, it's funny because out of the actual the sleeve, the hand, there was like to me, it looked like a rod. You know, the rod itself was red, and I was that scared and transfixed on the nun's hand, and
This is why I keep thinking it was E2.
it touched my forehead, and that was
Was it a light? Oh,
it was just pure red. That's all I knew.
all right. Was it glowing?
Well, it was red. Obviously, it was glowing, but I don't know if it was me. Just I knew it was a color red.
Uh-huh.
It touched me forehead, and I was out like a light. Years later, that was me at 4 year old. Years passing, I was getting, how can I put it? Experiences where a lot of people thought I was a little bit strange or whatever. They all said I was already and that sort of thing, but
You always thought that you were what?
a bit odd,
What
oddity.
was what about you, Dave? I can't imagine that. I really
Well, I'll
can't.
be honest with you, I used to say things to people within a day or two, they would come and people say, how did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I forgot what I'd sent to the person or the people. And when I was going 15, 16, I lost a member in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And that shock, that was the first time I ever come across um realization of losing somebody very close to us at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
again, 4 or 5 years later, I'd lost someone very, very important. Now, this triggered it all off when I was 21. That was somewhat like, 70 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was
70 years in the making. So you are
70,
in your 70s.
17,
Oh, I thought you
17.
said 70.
And actually, when I look back at the time, when I lost that person, I knew inside the door opened for me to go searching.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what the searching was, but I knew there was something
Mm-hmm.
or something, someone, whatever which we want to call it. I knew I had to go finding it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the opening of the soul, opening the whatever which way you want to put it, and I went looking for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First church, readings, different people. I was hell bent on finding the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one day I just met a lady, and she gave me proof without doubt.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, sure.
You know, as you said there, you go searching, you go to church, you look at readings, things like this. Did it ever occur to you that what you were looking for was in there?
Bigfoot history? No,
And not a lot of people
no.
realize that because we go looking, it's
Yeah,
like me. I went to Bible classes, all sorts from being a young
yeah,
kid. I like the community. I
yeah,
like that, part of being there. But that start, like, not just that, but I went looking. I went
yeah.
to different churches. I went to different denominations, all sorts. And I never, ever
Mm.
realized it was in here.
Well, there's many a time I've heard people say, look within,
Mm-hmm.
and I never ever got the feeling or the overall thought of looking within because I didn't know what they was talking about,
That's it. But
you know,
you just don't understand what's looking within.
what's it mean?
What's looking within. A lot of people say looking within. What do I want to look at me bones and me organs and me
Yeah, well,
tissue
that's
and
right.
all that?
Yeah.
We don't realize that there's a spirit within.
All I find now, um, over the period of time, I started going to awareness classes
Hmm.
and development classes.
Can I ask what made you go to the spiritualist church? Why not the Catholic church, or why not the Protestant church, or why not a Buddhist center? What drew you to the spiritualist church?
I went for a reading with a woman,
Hmm.
um, and I got told she was a clairvoyant. So that really lit the flame of curiosity.
Right, uh-huh.
And from the curiosity, I've heard about the spiritual side of things. And I've never understood why people were talking about this spiritual this and spiritual that,
Hmm.
spiritual churches. And I got
Hmm.
to find out what a spiritual church. So I went looking, and the one I went to was,
Yes, because
yeah,
we're not mentioning
well,
any
not,
names
no,
or
no,
nothing.
But that was the very first church I actually went to.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I wasn't the one for going to church.
Mm-hmm.
Or the only church I went to was for christenings,
Mm-hmm.
and that was about it, what I can remember. I can't remember going to church for any sort of marriages or funerals of that effect, but
Mm-hmm.
that was the first encounter that I had. But and it started from there. And that was 40 years ago. So it'll be coming up in
What's 40 years ago since you were four?
40 years ago since I stepped inside of a spiritual
Uh-huh.
church.
Uh-huh. Right. I was
And
going to say, yeah.
yeah, and it come March, April this year, it's 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, through me development and awareness and all the rest of it, through the actual messages from different people, different mediums, then I started opening up. Now, when I started opening up, it was, does that does that make sense to me? Will this make sense? Why do I stop? So all these things that were running through my mind were running through my heart, my feelings, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And basically speaking, once I started to quite get under a little bit understanding of it, then I started going into my development class.
And yourself as a medium will see some funny things because the clairvoyance, which is the clear seeing, we hear some funny things
Yeah,
with the hearing, and a lot of the times when we're given messages or when we're doing readings, we're seeing a lot of things that wouldn't make sense to
anybody else
someone that
understand?
isn't
Yeah.
aware of the abilities.
Mm,
What's some of the funny things that you have seen in your development? So, for example, one of the funny things that remember seeing, wasn't it? Well, it's all development, isn't it? Because
yeah.
every message we give, we're furthering our
Myself, yeah.
abilities. But one of the times I went through development different to how Davy did. Davy sat in a class. I was self-taught off my guides. And what I would do is I went through a period of going to open circles every night to give messages. And I would set a target, 3 messages a night. And that was simply so I could work, with my abilities to really strengthen them and further them. And I'd make sure that every night I would go to somewhere different. And if I went somewhere for 2, 3 weeks, I would go somewhere else for about 3 months. And I wouldn't go to that place because what can happen is you can stagnate. If you go to the same place week in and week out and week in and week out, it stagnates because you remember things. You walk in somewhere and you look at someone, you go, oh yeah, I was talking to you last week. This is from that side. I was talking to you last week, you're her auntie or you're her uncle or whatever. So it's ideal to move it around. And I remember one of the times I was given a message and I was in a place. And when we say clairvoyantly, there's only mediums and psychics. A clairvoyant is actually just a medium or a psychic whose clairvoyance is the strongest. So I was somewhere this night and we see things on walls, we see things in carpets,
Carpets, yeah,
wallpaper, everywhere, don't we?
yeah.
I mean, even
Right,
looking at this,
blue and vinyl, everything.
I might get a picture of
Yeah.
something. And I always remember it was actually quite hilarious. I remember I was somewhere and I was looking at the wall and it was above a man's head. And all I seen was a penis.
Mm.
And I seen a penis. And how I was seeing it was I seen this penis and it was a penis and it was standing up, but it was exaggerated. The testicles were huge. I was seeing these huge big testicles. So, and I was thinking, oh, well, at first I seen the penis And I had the feeling of a man coming through. And I knew I was with the man who was below what I was saying. I thought, oh no, don't say I've got someone coming through calling them a penis head. I thought, oh no. And I was thinking, how can I say that? Anyway, and then I seen the huge big testicles. And I remember the testicles, they just kept going bigger and smaller. It's almost as though they were throbbing. I thought, but what it was through the clairvoyance, it was the testicles that were really catching my attention. And that's what can happen in clairvoyance.
Yeah.
There's something in the clairvoyance that really stands out. So it was the testicles. And as it happens, it was the gentleman's grandfather who had had testicular cancer. So the testicles were really stand out to me.
Symbolic.
So, well, it wasn't symbolic, it was spirit. So, I was being shown the testicles. They were huge. They were drawing me attention there. That's where my attention was going. And it was a gentleman that had had testicular cancer. He was over in spirit. And then I finished that message. And then I seen, and the penis just didn't go away. I thought, oh no. So I knew I had to go to somewhere else. And what I seen next was, now, I'm not being rude when I say this, but Davy used to be a boxer, as you can tell by his nose. And I was saying, and when you've been a boxer and you've been punched on the nose a few times, your nose does take on a certain shape. Am I right?
Character building, yeah.
Character building. And I seen what looked to me like an indented nose. And I thought, I'm gonna speak to someone who's maybe his nose has been broken, or it's the bridge is sitting a bit further back. Not necessarily a boxer. And I was looking around to see where I was going, and then I couldn't see where I was going. I wasn't drawn to anything. But what I was being shown was I was seeing a penis, and the testicles were tiny because it was the penis I was being drawn to. But on the penis, I was just seeing little couple of black patches. And I thought, oh. And then my gut told us it's cancer of the penis. I thought, can you even get cancer of the penis? I don't know. Anyway, and I looked around and I just happened to say, I've got someone here. Obviously, it was a male. Um, and I know that there would have been a cancer in the male area because you don't really want to say, I've got someone here with cancer of the penis. So I said, in the male area. I said, but it's not the testicles. And then this woman who actually was sat in front of us turned round, and as she turned round, I seen the indentation in her nose, and I went, that's where I want to go. And as it happens, yes, she could understand someone in spirit that had had cancer cells in his penis. And then, so I give that message. And then what happened next? The penis stayed there. But this time, I just kept seeing this penis, and it was on the wall, and it just kept sitting like that. And then it was going, phew. Then it was coming back up, and then it was going, phew. And I was going, what's that? And then it was standing back up, and then it was keep dropping. And I was like, I'm not getting it. And the more I wasn't getting it, the more determined that penis was.
What's that? Getting the attention.
The more
Stand the attention, eh?
determined it was to get me attention, and it was going, and it was getting very, very determined. It was like, I went, that's Brewer's droop. Anyway, I thought, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to get up and say to anyone, Brewer's droop. So I kind of said, no, I'm not saying that. And I didn't give it. Anyway, on my way home, the person I was actually with was a friend of mine. And when on the way home, I actually said to her, I said, you know your husband? She went, yeah. I says, does he take a lot of medication? She went, yeah.
Mm.
I says, and does it kind of affect his penis, his performance? She went, yeah. She says, it's like he's got brewer's drip all the time. I went, thank you very much.
Right.
So
That's what you're saying.
just through that
Mm.
penis, I was able to make those connections. So that was some of the funny things that I seen. That was just in one night. And after that, I remember thinking myself, that's three penises now, have we? I'm not having no more penises. I don't want any more penises, but I didn't get no more penises,
Mm.
which was good. So you must have seen some funny things over the years, Davy.
Well, you're talking about that area. I remember years ago, a friend of mine, which I'm not going to mention, she was taking a service. Now this girl, or this lady, I should say, she's she's um she's straight
She
down.
was a big girl,
She's a big lass, yeah, all round. And
and she
one,
didn't wear bras.
well, yes, in this on this particular night, she wasn't. Whatever it was, the heat or whatever, because it was quite warm, and she turned up for the service. Well, the way I look at things is, what she says wasn't didn't dawn on her at the time. She went to the lady and she says, "Can I come to you?" The woman says, "Yes, yes, please do." She says, "Can I give you a gentleman who will listen called Dick?" Dick. She says, "I can't take a Dick." She says, "You can." She says, "I can't." And she turned around and said, you can't take a Dick." She says, "No." She says, "At your age." She says, "I'm very surprised at that." Well, my my sense of humor kicked in. And then what honestly, what happened then was she went, "God, it's warming out." Up come the top, a brow. Well,
And when she lifted her top up, she didn't have a bra on. It
oh,
was just hanging
they
down.
were like two
She
spaniels.
she wasn't the smallest of women.
No, they were,
She was a big lass.
yeah, and I thought, my God, oh my God,
I think
what?
she got put out, didn't she?
what? I think it was everybody's astounded, stunned. But there you go. These sort of nights, they're irreplaceable, And I don't honestly, I believe she wasn't aware that what she'd done. I think it was just a natural thing, God, and I think she forgot where
Well,
she was, to be
yeah.
honest with you. Because she's
Well, the
not
thing
crude,
is,
and she's
no,
not,
no,
no.
well, that's it. The thing is, though, it's like sometimes we do have a laugh with it. It all depends on where we are.
Yeah,
But I mean, I have heard that before. I've heard mediums say to
yeah.
some women, can you take a dick? And I remember one woman saying, no, I don't think I can. And then the medium saying, have you got kids? Yes, I've got X amount of kids. Well, I don't believe that you can't take a dick. Things like that. That's one of the things that years ago, mine, I'm not talking about now,
No,
standards have gone up now, which I'm pleased to say. But that would be one of the other things, one of the things that some mediums would do because there's having a laugh with mediumship, but then there's having a laugh and it's not
yeah,
too, it's where you're not really laughing with spirit, you're laughing. And, so that's kind of like, I'm pleased to say that them standards have gone.
gone, yeah,
They have gone. Um, and I've heard it said, and I know that you have years
yeah.
ago, not now.
No,
I'm seeing you with a pearl necklace, which is a
yeah,
sexual innuendo. Another one that I've heard is, oh, I'm seeing you with lovely golden showers, a sexual innuendo.
yeah.
And I'm so pleased that things like that aren't said now.
It's been kicked
Um,
out, all them sort of things.
oh,
Yeah,
thankfully, yes,
yeah,
thankfully, yes, because yes, it's funny.
yeah.
Yes, it
It's
is
funny.
funny,
It just catches
but
up.
it's not.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
It's good.
It is. It's crude and it's crass.
Yeah,
It's awful. But, you know, but we have a laugh. It's not that we have a laugh at you. We have a laugh with
with
you.
you. That's the thing.
Because if your loved ones have got a sense of humor,
They gotta
I
come through with
guarantee
it.
it.
Yeah, they
Exactly,
gotta come through with it.
exactly. You know, many times, me and Davey's we've had a good laugh, haven't we?
Yeah,
You know, thing. I mean, so for example, I mean, Davy went, well, before me and Davy went together, Davy used to go and do house parties and he would have women throwing themselves at them. Um, you know, some of them it was because they didn't want to pay for the readings, so they kind of just, whip the tops up and say, and things like that.
mm,
I've had the same with men. When men have had a reading and they'll start texting us and say, can I take you for coffee? But could you tell us a little bit more about that and that? That's kind of part and
yeah,
parcel of it, isn't it? It is quite funny. Um, but it's kind of not, because there would be some people that would take advantage of that.
yeah,
I don't take advantage of that. When I'm finished to
no,
read and I'm kind of I'm cut off and that's it. Um, but it's like, for example, there's a medium, and obviously we're not mentioning names, we know a lot of mediums from all across the UK, so we're not going to mention names
names,
or
no,
areas or
no,
places or churches or anything. But we do know um a medium who is and was a Newcastle United fan. And he thought it would be funny to do a couple of medium nights in a pub under the name of, now, if anyone's listening, Newcastle United football fans aren't great fans of Sunderland fans. Sunderland fans aren't great fans of Newcastle fans. And this medium was a Newcastle United fan, and he thought it would be hilarious to go and do a pub night, like a pub show, under the name of the Sunderland Football Club manager at the time, Peter Reid.
oh, right.
Can you remember?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah,
And he thought it was hilarious because I think that it was at a place in Newcastle. So he thought it was be hilarious to use that name. Little things like that. But it is funny.
yeah,
But we've had quite a few funny things, haven't we?
yeah, yeah. Just it makes you at the time when it hits you, when it falls on your toes, you think so, oh God, you will go again. You just got to keep your self-control.
Uh-huh. And the thing is, clairvoyantly, not so much me, but Davy, he he went through a period where he would be connecting to the other side, and he would be shown people who maybe should have been wearing a nappy. He would be shown people who would have accidents. You know, and you've kind of just gotta laugh about it
Yeah.
because we see more than the average person. I'll be honest with you. And I always remember a medium friend of ours, I always remember her saying she was in bed with her husband one night and they were having marital relations. And she just happened to look over her husband's shoulder and she seen her mum who was in the spirit world. And she basically just threw him off. And she said, get off me, mum's here. Um, Churchill.
Oh God. Oh yes.
So, so funny things like that do happen.
Yeah.
And many people think when you go to the toilet, can they see us?
Oh, I know. Some people's got imaginations.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'll be
Tough.
honest with you. There's a few times when I go in the shower, if I'm going to do a church service or an event or anything like that, sometimes what can happen is I'll be in the shower and they'll start and come through to us.
Yeah.
And honestly, um, if I was to tell you how many people I've had a shower with, when in reality I've had a shower with no one. But on the spirit side, they do tend to come through when, for some reason, when there's water flowing.
Yeah, because
because it flows.
it's
It's
natural.
yes.
Sure.
So the amount of times I've been in the shower with someone that came through to us, and I've came out the shower, and I've said to Dave, I've just had a shower with such and such, and this man's just joined me. He's like, "Oh, can you see you've already got the connection for tonight?" You know, they do come through, and they come through with some really funny times.
Mm,
I've even been sat on the toilet. I've even been sat on the toilet once, and I was sitting on the toilet, and I was doing what you do, had my phone in my hand, playing a game. So I was sitting and I was playing a game while I was sitting on the toilet, and then all of a sudden I was just talking to this man. I had this man here, and he was talking to me and he was telling us about himself, and I says, don't know why you're going to tell us all that for, because I don't know when I'm going to see whoever it is that you're here for. Anyway, the connection came clear.
yeah.
It came clear the following day, so that was good. But there is some funny things.
Yeah. When I'm trying to think of them all, or what I'll give you,
There's that many, isn't
it
there?
is, it's your mind just over the years, just your mind boggles,
Oh, no,
I've been very fortunate in that to have that sort of
no,
experiences.
I know. I mean, what about when you at your dad's funeral? Well, before your dad passed, I didn't know Davey's family, but
You know,
there was a priest,
with the
wasn't there?
priest father, oh, can I mention
You
the name?
can't mention
No,
names.
I
Don't
didn't.
mention names.
So anyway, I heard I was at my dad's at a time upstairs, and I was getting up in the morning. I heard voices downstairs. I thought to myself, who's my dad talking to? So anyway, I comes downstairs, and the guy, the priest was an Irish fella, and he says, "Oh, good morning to you." Obviously, pure Irish. I said, "Oh, good morning, father." And my father turned around and said, "Oh, this is my son, David." I said, "Oh, pleased to meet you." And what happened was my dad said something what what turned me head, and he says, "Oh, my father, this me, the priest had sent me dad. Says you go to the church." He says, "My father turned around and said, oh, he's not of our flock." Well, that got me back up, and what I said is, "Well, father, I'll be honest with you, I've got my own beliefs and my own knowing and my own religion." And the trouble is, well, it's just, oh, he says, "And what's that?" I said, "Well, father, I go to the spiritualist church. I've been going there for quite a number of years now." And I says, I says, people who pass over, they come and talk to us. And the the priest was a little bit took back by it. And he says, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, do you know when people die, they get buried, they get cremated, whatever, but they come back." He says, "Come back how?" I said, "Well, I'm going to give you an instance. Your brother, Robert, he's talking about the heart. Who stands to his heart?" He says, "Yes, that's correct." Then I says, "And he's talking about your heart." He says, "Hmm." He says, "Well, how would you know about my heart?" I says, "Because he's standing behind you telling us about your condition." And he looked through us with such a look. He could have melted ice cubes with a fright. And he looked at me dad, and he looked at his watch. He says, "Well, okay." He says, I'm going to have to get myself away." And I tell you what, he went down out through the,
Was he on his skateboard?
well, I think I think he had his wings, because he went down the front path, and he flew down that street. And my father's choice of words was absolutely fantastic towards myself. And I'm not going to repeat it, but he says, "I've brought the priest into my home, and you're giving it that big one about people being dead." I says, "Well, why don't you ask him if it's true or not next time you see him?" He absolutely hit the roof. But I will say this, months later, my dad passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and I got from a medium. She's also passed away now,
Mm-hmm.
but at the time, she came and said, "Your father's here. Just to let you know, he apologizes because on the other side, he's found out there is love, and that's all we ever work
Mm-hmm.
with, love."
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a staunch Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not getting at Catholics. Everybody to their own. It's whatever gives you comfort and gets you through
Exactly.
the day. That is your choice,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good because on the other side of life, there's no religion, there's no politics, there's only one thing, and
Mm-hmm.
we all blend together through love. That's all you need to know, and that's all I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Exactly.
But it's not the first time my dad's been through to apologize. He comes through, and I invite him through because now me and my dad's got a better understanding about each other. Because prior to that, we had a bit of a rocky romance, being father and son. But I'm not holding nothing about against my dad
Mm-hmm.
because I love him. He loves me, and I told him before he passed that I did love him, and I'm pleased I did because at the time I only got that brief time when we're out on the New Year's Eve and then going back. And I know my dad at the time wasn't
Mm-hmm.
great, and I just said to him, "Dad, I got something to tell you. Listen." And for once he listened to this, he says, "What?" I says, "I love you." And he couldn't believe that I'd said it to him
Mm-hmm.
because my dad wasn't a man that you could talk about love to. That is the
Mm-hmm.
difference. No, you will all get that, what I'd say, special times where you people, so make the most of it as and when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you go through with them, but just be, that special time has got to come. And if it doesn't come, try and make it happen. Because years later, when they leave this earth and go to the other side and meet their own ones, you'll be pleased within your own soul that you've said it. So there you go. And that's all I'm going to say. Yes.
And do you think that your soul, your spirit, what do you think about spirituality in general?
Spirituality has got a meaning to everybody on different levels,
Mm-hmm.
to be quite
Do
honest
you
with
think there are ties to religion?
you.
I don't. I don't think it ties to religion. I think it ties to all religions and no religions. Because to me, spirituality is just being
It's,
that better person than what you were the day before,
yeah,
learn from your mistakes, changing
yeah,
the things that you can for the better.
yeah.
And it's kind of like that,
I'll,
that's
I'll,
saying,
I'll be honest with you. I think spirituality is a way of living, it's a
mm-hmm,
way of communicating with different people.
mm-hmm,
Prior to me coming into this movement, I'm not going to say religion, into this
mm-hmm,
movement. Prior to that, I was a bit of a handful. This sort of religion or this sort of movement didn't exist to me because all
mm-hmm,
I ever wanted to do was box and fight,
mm-hmm,
just like young lads do. Obviously, it's 40 plus years ago
mm-hmm.
since I was 46 actually.
Do you not think it's got something to do with, because when you think about it, it's like a lot of people say we don't find ourselves when we're younger.
Oh,
And we mellow as we get older and things like that.
I,
Me and you's only been together, it's coming up 11 years.
you know,
And it's kind of like, if we'd met each other 30, 40 years ago, would we still be together? No,
no,
we wouldn't have even been together a year probably because you were feisty, I
oh,
was feisty, you know. Um, so it's even though me and my husband knew Davy
mm,
from 30 plus years ago, um,
yeah,
you were feisty, I was feisty, so it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have worked.
no,
So I believe that I think mellowing, I don't th I think mellowing also comes with
age,
growth,
yeah, growth. But
growth and age, and I think age has got a little bit of a thing to do with it. I think now and again you'll get someone who's young, who's got an old head on the shoulders. And
That's very
mhm,
forward to him.
yeah,
Yeah.
you get people who've got like a young head on the shoulders. They know themselves, they share of themselves.
Yeah.
But it's usually someone that's come through a lot of hardship, emotional
Yeah.
hardship. That's kind of they broke through it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
my
you
thought.
see, you've got a lot of areas. You've got
Hmm.
emotional areas. You've got what I'd say, hmm, emotional,
Physical, mental
physical, mental.
is the three.
The
The
three the
three.
main
Yeah.
ones.
It's the only ones really.
Yeah. Well, that's the only
The
ones.
mind, body, and spirit,
Yeah. The physicals are.
emotional, and the mental,
Yeah.
all coming together.
Yeah. But without that, it makes whatever you've been through all that, them three items
Hmm.
makes you the person that you are today.
Oh yeah, but also the things that we go through. You
Yeah.
hear people talking about going through traumas. Different traumas are different things for everyone.
Yeah.
Something that might have been a trauma to me when I was young might not have been a trauma to you.
It's how we handle things.
It's
What
how it's
That's
how
right.
our mental state is at the time. It's
Yeah.
how we feel with self. So a lot of things have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of you know, change how we look at things.
Mm-hmm.
But on the whole, you know, I
Yeah.
think talking just about the spirit,
Yeah.
I think for me, it's a case of we're born, we take on all this life,
Material life.
with
Yeah.
well, not just the material life, but we take on all this life's crap,
Yeah.
traumas,
Mm-hmm.
and it pushes the spirit down. And then I think, me personally, I think it's sometimes we've kind of got to say to ourselves, who are we? I want to get rid of these layers,
Yeah.
and then we start to build ourselves back up.
Yeah.
That's a personal growth, which is ongoing
Yeah.
because we never know what we carry.
No.
I was talking to a client yesterday. I was working with a client yesterday all about mindset changes. And it was interesting because she's a lovely lady, absolutely lovely lady. But she just had this, she wasn't a negative person, she was a very positive person. But she was using some negative language.
Yeah.
And it's not even negative language when you listen to it. She was looking back at her life and seeing everything that she had overcame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I asked her, I says, when you say overcame, I says, it makes it sound as though it was hard times that you've come through.
Mm-hmm.
I says, try to look at it as, instead of things that you've overcame, I said, try to look at it as things that you have accomplished. So she said, right, she made a list. And I says, right, I says, just read us that list, but change the overcame to accomplished.
Yeah.
And she read through the list and she says, I've accomplished, I've accomplished, I've accomplished. One of the things that she had accomplished was that she'd moved from a home country
Mm-hmm.
to a completely the other side of the world with no friends, no family, no nothing. And she'd accomplished that. But there was a reason why she moved, and she was looking at it as I've overcame that. And I says, look at it as you've accomplished that. And when she read it all, I says, how does it feel to you? Looking at it from accomplished instead of overcame. She says, it puts a total different slant on
Slanting,
it.
of course.
I says, how do you feel? She says, I feel lighter, I feel different. I says, because that mindset, I says, when you look at something as overcoming, I says, you're basically looking at the negative there. You're looking at the pain, the problem that you've overcome. But if you use the term accomplished, I says, you're pointing your mind towards the positives. You're pointing your mind towards what you've achieved. You're taking your mind to the solution,
Yeah.
and it makes a big difference because it gives you a different feeling in your spirit.
Mm.
And that's one thing about personal growth. And, you know, you hear people talking about personal growth. You'll see on Facebook, people share quotes and that saying things like move forward,
Mm,
grow, let things go.
yeah.
But there's but then the and I see people commenting saying, yes, I want to move forward, but I don't know how. And those people who are, and I'm not condemning those people who are sharing the post, I
Mm,
don't think I am. But then there's people commenting saying, I am stuck and I just don't know I don't know how to move forward. And then people who are sharing that
mm,
don't have an answer because they don't have a good understanding, pardon me, of what actual personal growth is or how to go about it. But, personal growth is about allowing your spirit to expand, allowing your knowledge to expand, and moving your mindset. It's those are three things in personal growth. There's a lot more as well. And it's easy, but it depends how much someone wants to go into the personal growth. Personal growth isn't just to do with mediumship. Personal growth isn't just to do with the mediumship. Personal growth's to do with just as a person.
mm,
But when you're developing your mediumship, it helps your mediumship when you go through personal growth. And personal growth's never ending because don't think that I'm sitting here thinking I've done all the personal growth that I can do and I'm done and I'm great. Far from it. Neither is Davy.
no.
I know he's not great. I know all sides of him, which
Mm,
sometimes gets on me on his nerves because I can be picking up on things and I'll say things and he'll say, no. And I'll say things to him, and then he'll say, you've got question marks around your head. So as a medium, it can be hard when there's two mediums together. Um, but it is about, just trying to be, that saying, if you can't help someone, don't hinder them. That's the type of thing it is, isn't it? But I believe that personal growth benefits everyone, but not everyone's ready at the same time, and not everyone's ready to say, I want better. I want a better class of friends. I want a better class of thinking. I want a better class of life. And that's a lot of where the personal growth is.
yeah.
So, can I just say, it's been wonderful talking to you tonight, Davy.
It's been a change. Yeah, thank you.
It's been a change. Are you going to come back and join us again?
I'm going to say yes, I'm not going to say no, but leave it over there. The spirit world to get involved again,
In
yeah?
other words, that means the next time I say, Davy, how are you? He'll be here. So, can I say it's good night from us? I say thank you, Davy, for joining me on Spiritual Stuff and Fluff. And can I also say, don't forget to keep your light bright and your laughter loud because it really does change your day. It changes your view. It changes how you are seen in your world. So I'll say bye for now. See you next time on Spiritual Stuff and Fluff.